Works is your go-to truck customizer. From mild-to-wild lift kits, custom wheels, and steering and handling enhancements to the best personal and commercial wraps, Texas Truck Works delivers. Let Texas Truck Works founder Scott Stevens help you get the most out of your truck or Jeep. Texas Truck Works has decades of customizing experience, including power adders and complete engine swaps. Let the Texas Truck Works team design an upgrade plan that fits your budget. Get truck attitude today at TexasTruckWorks.com. This is the award-winning car talk show in Wheel Time, your weekly go-to all things automotive place. Along with Mike out of this world, Mars, and King Konrad DeLong, I'm Don Armstrong. Hey, thanks so much for joining us on our live broadcast. And don't forget, podcasts are available throughout the week on your favorite podcast channel. Okay, so we are going to switch gears now, and we are going to bring in a guest. A friend of the show, the Emmons brothers, NHRA sportsman racers, and owners of the Emmons Autoplex down there in Webster, Texas. And who is it that we're talking to today?
Hey guys, how's it going? This is Jerry at the moment. Jerry will be joining us in a few minutes.
Well, yeah, I have to tell you, because so we have triplets. And I know that all of your racing buddies and NHRA that you're out there, they know the difference. But to me, I don't know you that well, and you all look alike. Well, imagine that.
Imagine that.
Well, it sounds like you all race alike as well. Congratulations on a dual U.S. Nationals championship in Super Stock and Stock Eliminator, if I remember correctly.
Yes. That is correct.
That is awesome. I mean, how unbelievable is that, representing Houston alongside of the Pro Stock champion, Erica? And Erica was watching the show a little bit earlier. I'm sure she came on to watch your interview.
Oh, wonderful. No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure, no pressure.
Don't screw this up. I'm sure your mother said that to you once or twice.
Plenty of times.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about Emmons Motorplex? You want to talk about drag racing? You tell me.
Let's talk about the drag racing. I think you guys covered it pretty while back, but let's cover the drag racing.
Okay, let's do
the fun
Look
stuff.
at the smile on his face.
So let's talk about the cars, because you got obviously more than one car, and it's always fun to see when you guys come to the pits that whole multiple rigs set up and all the cars that have the same kind of paint scheme. Why don't you, first of all, let's go through the cars. What all do you have in your stockpile of racers?
But we currently, the ones that we use today when we go to a race, so there's 4 brothers total, us triplets and my older brother. And so when we go, we generally take at least 5 cars. So I will drive 2. So I drive the one that I won with at the U.S. Nationals was a 1969 Chevrolet Camaro. So years ago when we bought that car back in the early 80s, it was configured with a 350 small block and a power glide transmission. Well, as the years progressed, the classes have gotten a lot tougher, and we wanted to speed the car up. So we probably in mid-2000, we took out the 350 small block Chevrolet and we put a 396 aluminum headed engine in it. And what's particular about that car, or about the category that I run that car with, so in Stock Eliminator, you have to run the engine that was offered with that vehicle. So let's say that my car was offered with which it was. I think it was offered with a 307 with a 2-barrel. It was offered with a 350, a 396 steel-headed combination, an aluminum-headed combination, and even a 427. But like a 69 Camaro convertible was not offered with the 427, so you cannot run the 427 in that car. But anyway, so we have the Camaro, we have a couple of 2005 Chevrolet Cavaliers. So you're thinking Cavalier, that's not a race car, right? Well, we can run those cars in a class called Super Stock. So if you just kind of break it down a little bit, Super Stock, means you can soup it up. That's the easiest way to explain it. So we have a smaller engine in it. We have a 327 in our Cavaliers, but we can actually back half the car, which means you can do a little bit of modification, put a wider tire underneath it, because the Stock Eliminator, you're limited to a 9-inch wide tire. But in Super Stock, you can put a bigger tire, narrow the rear end, and do a lot more modifications.
And so also make it rear-wheel drive.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Now, and there are a lot of people that have, or a few that have Cavaliers that run stock eliminator that choose to go that route, where you cannot alter, the way the car was from the factory, right? But super stock you can. So we have 2 Cavaliers, the 6.9 Camaro convertible, and my brother Gary, the brother that you had on the show a while back, he has a Cobra Jet Mustang with the Coyote engine in it, with the supercharger. That thing's a beast.
Yeah, one of the new Cobra Jet factory stock cars.
Absolutely. That's good. Hey guys, Terry just joined me in. He's in there.
Okay, so just to reiterate, these are 2 of the triplets. Now you tell me, do you see what I'm saying? How do you tell them apart? I mean, I know these guys, but I don't know them that well.
Well, we know that Terry sat in front of the Wallies, sitting behind
exactly
on the armoire behind him.
There you go.
Exactly.
Well, anyway, okay, so continue on with the cars that we're going through.
So anyway, so those are the cars we run to this day. Now, Terry can tell you a little bit more about his car. He runs a Cavalier, but it's in the super stock configuration of a modified eliminator, and he can tell you more about that. You want to know about your Cavalier?
Oh yeah, it's a 321 small block. It's a high winding car. It makes all of its peak horsepower at 9,500 RPM.
Jeez, my God, it's a sewing machine.
Right, and it just screams at the finish. You almost kind of grit your teeth when you're going to the finish line. It's like just get there, But it's high RPM burnouts. It's high adrenaline. It shifts like at 9,400 at a second gear and 9,700 in the high, and it goes to traps at 10,300. Oh, it's
God.
And so what is the quarter mile speed and and the time slip on that?
It would have went one run at Indy, and it's just we don't have it on keel, but it would have went 890s at 148, 150 miles an hour.
Wow.
It weighs 2,900 pounds.
So when you guys show up, and I'm going to throw your plug because you've got a big sponsorship from Lucas. I know the Camaro's got Lucas on it, but that humongous trailer you drive has Lucas on it as well. So when you guys roll into a national event or even some of the local events, does everybody kind of freak out because you're there? Oh my gosh, they're here again.
No, they all think we're the support trailer. They think we're full of room. Spray wax and tire shine.
Yeah. Hey, you got any free samples you're handing out over
there? We're recognized as a support trailer more than the Emmons trailer.
How many events do you go to a year outside of Houston?
Oh gosh, probably. I would say you have to go to 6 nationals, right? You take your best 3 of the 6 for the points claim, and divisional is 8. So aside from the Houston and Dallas races, all of them are out of state.
Oh wow!
So yeah,
so at least 6 to 8 of them out of state.
Wow! So you guys are gone a lot. I mean, and from doing the drag racing thing with David Powers for a year, it's a traveling circus that's nonstop. It's a 7-day-a-week job, really.
Absolutely, and what we struggle with is trying to balance the family life, the work life, and the racing life, because obviously you need to be prepared when you get to the races. We don't like to work on our cars when we get there. Light maintenance, of course, but we want to be able to roll in, unload, and be ready to rock and roll.
By the way,
we're not laughing.
Somebody behind you just repositioned the Wallies.
They've been sliding them over a little bit. They can go over just a little bit more, and we kind of center them up a little bit better. But
hey, thank you very much.
That was our production
awesome.
department.
That's awesome.
Oh my God. That's good stuff. So that has to be a huge balancing act, and let's face it, it costs a lot of money to get this road circus on the road and get to an event, and it's really not so much the payoff by winning the actual category or event yourself. It's really the pride, because those Wallies are hard to come by. It's not the money aspect of it at all.
Absolutely, and you nailed it absolutely with the hammer on the nail. So you're exactly right. I mean, the prize money is good, but let's be honest for a moment. The prize money today compared to the prize money what it was 10 years ago is not at all what it used to be. But it's still substantial, and we do appreciate what is there to go get. However, the pride is exactly, everyone who races competitively knows that whether it's the U.S. Nationals, whether it's a local division race, you still have the tough rounds, the tough racers, and it's whether winning the U.S. Nationals or winning a division race, to me, is still the same feeling. You feel like you've accomplished something because everyone's tough. And all of the races Terry had this past weekend, the races that I had, was absolutely grueling. And the competition was never better. And we were just very fortunate that both of us came out on top.
Yeah, and Jerry, the other day when you and I talked, you were telling me about your father and the connection, the family connection to the racing.
Absolutely. So my dad was racing long before we were born. And, it's interesting because as we were growing up, when we were kids, we would always go out because at the time, where my dad, and he lived in the same house from the time we were born to the time he passed. So the garage, he had just a really neat small house, and the garage was right there. You could go from the kitchen to the garage by opening a door. So we would wander out into the garage and help my dad, whether it's wiping on the car or trying to work on it. We would try to do something to involve ourselves. It's interesting. My father never actually pushed the racing on us. We saw that my dad was very passionate about it. So therefore, I don't know if it was the drive that we saw that he had for that, but obviously that intrigued us to want to go out and be with him. And, my father was wonderful.
Hey, you guys hang on for just a second. We need to take a quick break, and we'll be back with you in just a minute.
Dude, you may want to slow down. There's a cop car up there. Hey, man, there's another cop. I'd think about putting your seatbelt on if I were you. And if you could sober up in less than 5 seconds, that'd be cool, too.
As America gets back on the road, a lot of things have changed, but not the need for drivers to be safe. Cops are enforcing traffic safety laws in our community to save lives. Paid for by NHTSA.
Advance Auto Parts and CarQuest present the inaugural Texas Truck Challenge with $10,000 to the winner this Saturday night at Houston Motorsports Park. Gates open at 5 and the first 300 fans get a free souvenir cap. The commemorative Air Force flyover and racing go at 6. Wear your mask. We've got social distancing and sanitizer. Enjoy dollar hot dogs and dollar beer. Advance tickets online at NASCARHouston.com. This Saturday night, gates at 5, racing at 6, Houston Motorsports Park for the inaugural $10,000 Texas Truck Challenge.
Hey, welcome back to the In Wheel Time Car Show. We're talking now with the Emmons brothers, NHRA sportsman racers, and also proprietors down at the Emmons Autoplex down in Webster, Texas. Great to be with you guys, and thanks so much for joining us today. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. We really appreciate it. We have mutual friends. One of them, Stan Holt, of course, and we all know Stan and Sheila, and Erica is in on this, as well as Dale Hulquist over at Elite Glass, and all racers of some sort in some different category or another. And, it's one of the things that we talk about on this show is the camaraderie, the family atmosphere. It's not only in racing, but in all of the car things that we're involved with, whether it be a cruise-in car show on a Saturday night, Autorama, Houston Auto Dealers Auto Show in January. I mean, we all hold this in high regard because it's a big family and it's a lot of fun. How is COVID-19 affecting you guys, not only at the dealership, but out in the drag racing circuit?
Well, it's, right now we're only able to have a limited amount of fan base at the drag strip. And NHRA is doing a really good job. You cannot be anywhere up in the staging lanes. If you're anywhere around, where you're going to be, there's going to be a lot of people. It's mandatory. You have to wear a face mask. In the pit area, I've seen where people feel pretty comfortable. Some walk around with the mask, some not. But I think just the fan attendance itself is down. Obviously, because NHRA regulates how many people can come in. But aside from that, car guys want to be at the racetrack, and they're excited to be there. And I think a lot of people are tired of being cooped up, and I believe they're having a better time when they're there because they're just outside enjoying what they really love.
So are you guys excited that because NHRA announced, I guess last week, that yes, Houston and Dallas are both on the circuit for the end of the year, with Las Vegas going to be the Pomona this year for the finals. You guys got planning for all that?
Well, we had our usual schedule is that we always go to the last three races. The races, we call it the Western Swing for us. It's the Vegas National, the Vegas Divisional, and then the Pomona National. And we always end up, even if we may not be doing great in the point system at the time, we still go because it's a fun race, and we enjoy racing back-to-back weekends like that. So for us, I didn't share this with you guys earlier, but this was our only national event that we've attended this year.
Oh, wow.
If I'm not mistaken. So Indy was our first national that we were able to attend because the ones that we had scheduled to go to were canceled.
Well done.
So, yeah. So, we've been to a few Lucas Oil division races, but the Indy U.S. Nationals was our first. So what's coming up next, I believe, is the Dallas National would be our next national event in the Houston. So, yeah, so we plan on going out west to Vegas. Absolutely.
Well, let me ask you another question, kind of a change the subject matter here. Who is it that you've got? You've got to have somebody in the background helping you guys with motors, tune-ups, that sort of stuff. You don't do all that yourself by yourselves, do you?
Well, we have a few key people that really help us kind of keep everything moving.
Right.
There's a gentleman named Pete Peary that races with us. He's a gentleman in his 70s. He races, and he's very, very good. He helps us with the mechanics of it if we have an issue at the racetrack, or if we have some spare time, if he needs to go through an engine, he can take care of something like that. But we have a specific engine builder for each car, and generally once the repairs have been done, it's just light maintenance after that. But we have a couple of guys, real good friends, a guy named Clint Rigby and Lowell Gerber. Those guys are, they race with us. They're part of our team, and they do really well helping us get everything controlled and at the races.
Now, do you guys make it a family affair? Do you take the wife, the kids? I mean, it is a bunch of people there. I would imagine so.
Yeah, absolutely. So my wife only comes to the local races. We have a 3-year-old and an 8-month-old. So it's obviously not easy to get them to the races. And so she's fine with just the Dallas National and the Houston National. But generally, when we go out of town, it's just us three brothers.
Yeah. And there's a guy that goes with us, Todd Bailey's also. He works at NASA in the safety department. He takes great care in making sure that the little details are done, even down to the food. You got to be fed.
That's true.
He's really good about helping us drive to the race, and we have to drive all night long. He's great about that,
Every team needs a catering manager, right?
Everybody does. That's right.
And, with those ham sandwiches and pimento cheese and that sort of stuff. At least you got to have a loaf of bread somewhere.
Right.
Yeah. So one of the local guys, David Nickens, had freshened up one of my motors in the modified car. And if I got a problem, I can reach out and call him, and he's quick to respond, either with a call or a text back. So having that local hub of information, especially a guy like him, is wonderful.
Yeah.
So how are you guys dealing with COVID at your sales facility?
You're not going to believe it. It's never been better. I mean, if you've talked to anybody in the auto industry, we have never seen results like this since we've been alive. And it's just the opposite of what you would think, right? We thought, oh my goodness, we were ramping up for tax time. We were building up the inventory, getting ready, and then the COVID hit. And I think with people not being able to go spend money on dinners, drinks, other activities, they're all staying home. They're not running up those credit card bills, or they have that extra income that never has been spent yet. Then you get the surplus check, and and then the fact that the mental aspect of they're cooped up and they want to go out, they want to do something for themselves. They want to buy a Jeep or a nice sports car, and the results have been off the charts. The growth has never been what it's been. It's not just us; it's every dealer around. You go by some of the major stores, the front line looks
empty,
very empty.
Right.
How is it trying to get inventory? Is it difficult?
It's beyond difficult. Yeah. Prices are higher now than they've ever been trying to acquire the inventory because everybody's hungry. You can't sell from an empty apple cart, so you have to pay the money. You have to buy the cars. The problem what you're going to have is what we've run into is the book value is, only updates every 30 days. So we're paying over retail, last month's retail value in ADA. We're paying over retail value just to acquire the cars.
Oh my.
The new adjustment doesn't come out. So if you submit it to the bank for financing and say, well, the book value is this, you need a stronger down payment. Well, now they've seen so much of it that they've adjusted. Everything's done, a lot of it's done manually now. For manual
just trying to keep up.
And I think when I checked,
right, because you can't wait 30 days for the new book values to come out. It just doesn't. It's not realistic.
And I think when I checked the other day, you guys carry roughly 500 vehicles in inventory, about 400 of your used cars, and 70 or 80 of the what you call the bargain used cars.
Right. I think the last check yesterday was like 636. We just can't get them online fast enough. We're working a lot of days in the back trying to get the processes streamlined and. You can't push it quick enough.
Yeah, and you've got a wonderful shop there. I've been to your shop as well, and a good crew of technicians back there. But you guys are all set up to take care of the car after you sell it, not just to sell the car as well.
Yes, that's what really makes it nice when we built a new facility. There's service after the sale. Whether you need the service mechanically. Or if you do a bump, ding, or scratch, we have that covered too. We have a full-blown body shop in the back that we can do anything if it's car related. We can do it all.
And store that Lucas trailer back there in the,
exactly.
Far bay.
It's the Emmons Autoplex down in Webster, Texas. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us, talking about NHRA Sportsman Drag Racing, and best of luck trying to get all that inventory online or what little you got. So
you're going to have to get a bigger table for the rest of your Wallies, apparently.
I hope that's a problem. We'll work on that.
Hey, we hope to see you at the Houston race, Dallas race. Stay in touch with us. We'll be in touch with you, and thanks again for joining us today.
We sure will, guys.
Thank you.
The Emmons brothers, thank you very much. Hey, you've got something ugly or nice to say about our show? Perhaps you're still ticked off about that crappy torque wrench warranty that Craftsman lied to you about? Well, we want to hear about it and share it with all of our viewers. All you have to do is shoot us an email with the gripe information to info@inwheeltime.com. Splash and go, and we are back with Konrad's Car Clinic right after this.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
It's the In Wheel Time Car Show. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Time now for Konrad's Car Clinic. Delve into all things automobilia.
Well, and this is going to kind of roll right into the conversation we just had with the Emmons brothers, and that's used car pricing. Used car pricing is on the rise, and the prices are moving up, and a lot of it kind of due to the pandemic. You heard Jerry talk about how people tend to have a little bit more cash and that their sales are going real well. Well, there are some models out there that have had some pretty significant price gains in the used car market. Of the 10 models that had the biggest increase nationally, most were luxury cars or sports cars, and actually it was led by the Dodge Challenger. The Dodge Challenger price went up 9% from the month of July to the month of August.
All of them? All of the Dodge Challengers?
Just when they look at Challenger as a used car sold vehicle, the price went up 9% in the month of July between August.
What's up with that?
Well, it's inventory's down, so demand is up. People are out buying vehicles, so it's the supply and demand thing. So I thought it was kind of interesting to see how the Dodge Challenger, the price being up as much as it was. The Land Rover Range Rover wasn't far behind at 8.9% gain in just 1 month, and that's a pretty pricey piece as well. The Volvo S60 came in third with an 8.6% gain.
Oh, Volvo?
Hey, it's what do people want? When you look at all of these, that Challenger price increase worked out to $3,400 price increase in the Challenger on the used car market. So when Jerry was talking about they buy a vehicle, now they're paying $3,400 more for that at the auction level. Now they have to turn around and get it financed at a bank, and the bank's still looking at stuff that's 30, 60 days old. That's where he was talking about how it's taking the bank time to catch up with what the values are of the vehicle.
Sure.
So it's a lot of work in the used car industry to get you bought without a whole lot of down payment. The Honda CR-V was up almost 9% as well. It's going full range. It's not just the high dollar cars. It's kind of some of the lower price cars. The Chevy Silverado and the Dodge Ram pickup truck were both up about 8% in their price on the used car market. And that really doesn't surprise me because, as Jerry had said, if you drive by any of these new car dealerships and look at their inventory, you notice how all of the cars are parked on the front line.
Yeah.
And there's nothing behind them.
Yeah.
No second or third row.
Right.
No.
So many of these dealerships are out of full-size trucks. Now they're starting to come back in and fill the gaps, but they were out of full-size trucks. So when that happens, the used car market climbs proportionately to that. So that really helps used car operators that had big inventories, but they've sold through their inventory. So now they're having to replace their inventory at a higher price as well. And then another one that gained was Subaru WRX, was up 8.4% in 1 month.
What? Of all the cars that you're talking about, the Challenger, okay, I get that. It's a popular car. It looks good, all that other.
Volvo and Subaru?
But the Volvo. But, I did read a story this week about Subaru that the Subaru is actually a huge seller in the Sunbelt states. Now figure.
Well, I would also say it's kind of a huge seller in the mountain,
and that's what I was just
country as well.
But it sells the most new vehicles in the Sunbelt states.
Interesting, I didn't realize that.
And I'm not quite exactly sure what the psychology is behind that. You would think that it would be big in the Snowbelt, but now it's bigger in the Sunbelt states.
So again, that's kind of what I was going to talk about today. So it kind of tied in with talking to the Emmons brothers about how used car pricing is really climbing, and it's driven by market forces.
Well, it's truly, it's just an odd period of time.
You think?
Yeah, to say the least. Dodge Challenger, BMW X6, Nissan Sentra, and Genesis G70 led each segment in a J.D. Power study measuring multimedia quality and satisfaction. The Challenger was the top performer overall with the most satisfied owners and lessees. On a 1,000-point scale, the vehicle scored 938. Maybe that has something to do with its popularity. Brent Gruber, Senior Director of Global Automotive at J.D. Power, told Automotive News the study found Nissan was the only Japanese brand that ranked above average and that domestic brands performed best. Kind of a surprise there to me, isn't it to you? The study did say owner satisfaction with such systems with these... the heavy-duty stuff, the electronics, among the least satisfying aspects for the vehicle experience. Gruber said 23% of overall automotive consumer problems are with the multimedia and infotainment systems, and the top 10 problems with multimedia systems are design-related. He told Automotive News that smartphone users expect vehicle updates to be as seamless as their smartphone updates. Manufacturers need to ensure that updates have been thoroughly tested with a very high probability for success. So there's still obviously a lot of room for improvement there. Okay, that's it for this segment of the In Real Time show. We got more coming up in just a sec.